You are now tuning in to the Going North podcast with your host, best-selling author, professional speaker, and member of the John Maxwell team, Dominic Dom Brightman. And every Monday and Thursday, we're going to hear the voice of a different author sharing their gifts, stories, and expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors known as the Going North podcast, aka GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, we got another super special, awesome human today for you, my friends, because my goodness, this makes, I believe, the fifth person who's has a Goalcast video with millions of views that's appeared on this podcast. So we finally found our thumb, y'all. We found our thumb. And it's all thanks to the fabulous Kimberly Hopshot, or should I say Kimberly Crow, for hosting a super special, awesome International Women's Day event back in March. And I actually won a prize for attending, so guys were allowed to attend because I had some buddies that were there. And little did I know that I would win a ticket to an event, and even though I wasn't able to really put my face in there, I was still able to get a super special, awesome guest today who is not only has a Goalcast video with millions of views, but also a two-time TEDx speaker. And she also is a heart-centered, determined, unstoppable woman of influence. So instead of ROI, she has the WOI indeed, because she can help you take the T out of can't. So let's give it up for the wonderful KF herself, Miss Kelly Falardeau. How you doing today, Kelly?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Dom. I'm so excited to be here. I was so excited about being on your show today. So thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, that's right. We all know E goes before F for a reason, because the excitement is mutual.
That's right.
That's right,
Great.
indeed. Yeah, probably good with 10 O's indeed. That's right, it's good.
That's right.
But yes, indeed. So my goodness, as you know, with all introductions, you know they're not allowed to be 57 days and 2 weeks long. So mind filling in any cavities I may have missed about the kind, Kelly herself?
The cavities.
Yeah.
What about the cavities?
Yeah, I probably missed some things in the introduction.
Oh, missed some things in the introduction. Yeah. Actually, you did really good. Thank you. Yeah, that Goalcast video has almost 10 million views. And you know what's super cool about it is that they recreated my life story in about 4.5 minutes. And they basically took some footage from my documentary called Still Beautiful, and they recreated, my accident of me getting burnt as a 2-year-old to most of my body. So they recreated the burn accident and some of the school scenes and, me, being teased and bullied. Eventually, down the line, I did end up getting married. I'm now divorced. And, I've had 3 beautiful kids and became a speaker, best-selling author, and now I coach people to become best-selling authors.
Yes it did. Yes it did. So how's it feel when you had your first book that became a bestseller? Because being an author wasn't even on your radar for a long time, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, what happened is my speaking coach said, Cal, you need to write a book so that, when people ask you to speak for free, you've got a product to sell. Plus, because then when people want to learn more about you, they've got a book that they can buy and take that little piece of you home with them. So then what happened is months after I wrote that book, my another friend of mine, she's a speaker, and she said, Cal, now that you are an author and a speaker, you now need to be a best-selling author. Because when you're a best-selling author, then you can get higher fees, bigger stages, make more money, more credibility, and away you go from there. And I thought she was crazy because I didn't know how to write a best-selling book. I thought you'd have to sell 10,000 copies. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that, right? I honestly didn't. I didn't know, I thought New York Times best-selling author, you got to sell at least 10,000 copies. And I don't have 10,000 friends. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to get all my friends to buy the book. So anyways, I found a way to do it and found out, how you do it on Amazon. And this is another crazy story, but anyways, there's my best-selling book, my first one, Self-Esteem Doesn't Come in a Bottle. And so what happened though with this is that on launch day, my computer got a laptop or got a virus on it. So I went to use my kid's computer and it got a virus on it. So I went to my friend's house and it got a virus on it. So then I thought, okay, that's it. I'm going to go buy a new laptop. Well, then my daughter phoned me and she's vomiting blood. And she says, Mom, I need to go to the hospital. And I was like, oh, I'm in the middle of a book launch. How many more things can go wrong? So anyways, I bought the laptop, got it set up, and then I went to the hospital with her. And sure enough, here I am in the hospital, texting my friends, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. And finally, I think it was 1 o'clock in the morning, I finally made the bestseller list with this book. I know, 1 in the morning. It was crazy though. And now I'm a 7-time best-selling author. So, and now I coach people so they can become best-selling authors. So it's pretty cool.
That's right. Cooler than 7 cucumbers, I imagine.
That's right.
That's right. 7 lucky cucumbers, coaching folks become best-selling authors, helping them to be the best that they can be. Indeed, that's what I'm talking about. Dave's like, congratulations, lucky 7. Lucky freaking 7. And on top of that, the beautiful thing is it's probably far from over. You probably got like, what, 3 more books in you, minimum?
Oh my God, I don't know. People keep asking me, when are you going to write the next one? And I said, I'm too busy. I'm too busy helping other people get their books done. So I don't have time to write another book. So I don't know when I'm going to do another book. No idea. So I like seeing people like you and everybody else get their books done. Have you got a book?
Oh, yeah. 2.5. First 2 self-published. The second one, Stay the Course. That became bestseller. And like yourself, it was after the bewitching hour of 12 o'clock a.m. It was like... I found out, like, I was busy changing my Amazon profile bio and making it short. And the next thing I know, I refreshed the page and it says bestseller on it. I'm like, wait, what? Like, it got number 1? Like, the heck happened? So, yeah.
Happened.
Like, yep. Just took a nice little screenshot, kept it for a keepsake since that thing changes every hour.
Yeah. Well, no, that's awesome because, you know, that's the thing. Amazon doesn't tell you when you become a best-selling author. So, you know, you have to take that screenshot so that you have the proof that you've done it. So that's awesome. Congratulations. We're both best-selling authors.
We're twinsies almost.
When's your next book coming out?
Yeah, it should be out by the end of the year. So it's going to be a more tactical book because the first 2 are self-help, and the third book, that was a co-author project that also became a bestseller, but that was a team effort. So, well, then again, all books are team efforts. Who am I kidding? It takes a team in the whole village. It probably takes 3 villages. But the fourth one's gonna be a nice book, gonna be called Pod Book It: The 3 Phases of Advancing to Greatness by Starting a Podcast and Writing a Book. So it's gonna be helping folks to either write a book, start a podcast, or become a bookcaster by doing both.
Oh, that sounds excellent. People are gonna love that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The plan is to probably make it the biggest one yet. That's probably the plan because it's basically taken what I've done over these past, my goodness, it'll be 4 years in September since the start of the podcast. And wow, almost 5 years since I wrote and published my first book. So yeah, definitely combining those 2 and helping folks do the thing if that's what they desire to do.
That's excellent. I can't wait to see your next book. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Awesome with all the sauce, indeed.
That's right. You have a very creative sense of humor.
Well, thank you. That's a good word for it. Yeah, because some folks don't always appreciate it. My colleagues, they tend to be like, oh, God, Dom's laughing maniacally like he's satisfied with himself. He must have said a really bad joke again. But hey, it's all good. Not everybody is a fan of the Colonel of the Corny Joke Kingdom. It's all good.
That's right. Well, you got to have fun with life, right?
Heck yeah, especially when buns are involved. Like, gotta have fun on a bun. Like all the honey buns, hamburger buns, all the buns.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh, well, speaking of fun, you're having fun in your life too, because not only, if I'm not mistaken, you're now a motivational speaker, best-selling author, book coach, helping folks become best-selling authors. I believe you also have a creative side of your own as well, because if I'm not mistaken, you did some paintings a few years back and did some quilts as well.
Yeah, actually, that if you look up, there you can see one of my paintings right there behind me.
Ooh, I love the
So,
purple flower.
yeah, me too. I did that 6 years ago. And
Oh.
what I did is I found a way to get it put on blanket. And then what I did is I ordered 1,500 of them. And what I would do is I would go around to different Rotary clubs and different speaking events that I'd be asked to speak at, and I would ask people if they would sponsor blankets, and then the blankets would go to the kids who burn survivors at summer camp. So then they would get this blanket, and the blanket said, "You are loved, you are needed, you're wanted," and the kids just loved it because some of them showed up at summer camp without even blankets.
Mm.
And so this way we had a blanket for them. So it was super awesome. Loved it.
Ah, that's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's right. Kelly loves the kids. That's
That's
right.
right.
Yes,
So
indeed.
so yeah, so it's cool to take, a project and then, make it into something bigger. And they even filmed that when we were at the summer camp, when we were filming for my documentary, they actually filmed that part where my kids and I went to the camp and gave away the kids, gave the blanket to the kids. So, hey, have you ever been skydiving?
The closest I got to that was ziplining.
Well, so here's what happened. We wanted to raise $20,000. So what we did is I said to my kids, my one son, Cody, I said, Cody, we need to raise $20,000. How are we going to do it? And he said, I don't know. I don't know. He came up with all these different ideas. So I said, well, why don't we skydive? So what we'll do is in order to skydive for free, you have to raise $1,000, and then you get to skydive for free. And then that money will be used to buy the blankets that we give away to the kids at summer camp. And so Cody said, okay, sure, I'm in. So we did that. So then my other son, Parker, who is a twin with Cody, Parker was really, really scared. He was like, I see no reason to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. He was like, it doesn't make any sense to me, right? And he's like, no, I'm not doing it, not doing it. My daughter, she's like all in. Like she loved the thrill seeking type stuff. She's like, I'm doing it. Cody, my other son, yeah, I'm doing it, Mom. Parker's like, nope, I see no reason to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. But anyways, my cousin, he came over and he said, look, this is what happens. And he told all of us what it's like to skydive. And he told us where it would be scary, where it would be okay, what it would feel like. And so the day came, and my director said to Parker, are you going to jump? And Parker said, well, I don't know. So then my director said to him, well, Parker, you know you're going to do it. Just say yeah. So Parker said, okay, fine. So he got on like the jumpsuit on and everything. And we have to wear the straps, the harness, because we were doing a tandem with the other dive master. So we go and we get in the family plane, and my cousin jumps, Parker jumps, then Cody jumps, and then my daughter. Okay, she's the big shot, right? So she gets right to the door, and she goes like this, and she goes, no, I'm not gonna do it. And they push her out. I, I couldn't stop laughing. I think I peed my pants. I was laughing so hard. So I jumped, right? And I land. Everybody's already landed before me. Parker comes running up to me. Mom, mom, mom. I said, what? He goes, when can we do that again? That was so awesome. And I said, do you get the lesson? And he said,
Ah.
well, what's the lesson, Mom? Well, if you never would have done it, you never would have known how much you love it.
Mm.
And how many times do we let fear stop us from doing stuff we love? Right? Like, what if you never would have started your podcast 5 years ago? You never would have been able to make the impact that you've made, right?
Mm.
So I just believe that even though we're scared to do things, we need to feel that fear and do it anyway. What do you think?
I believe that's rock solid advice indeed. It's kind of funny how that works. It's like the person is always usually overconfident. Like, yeah, I got this. I'm gonna jump out this plane. Oh God, let me get out of here. No, and then you just have to push her out. Get out of there. Like you're behind.
That's right.
Sometimes you all need that push too.
That's right. So have you ever done anything that was something that was so scary that you never thought you could do it, but you did it anyways?
Let's see. Hmm. I guess I want to say book writing was kind of scary at first because it's like, who the heck am I to write a book? Because this was the book was 5 years ago. I was 22, well, 22, about to be 23 at the time,
Right?
and like I've seen a young person do it before me who was like a couple years older than me, but I'm like, dude, yeah. At first, it was just all the self-limiting beliefs, all the self-doubts. It's like,
Yeah.
who am I to write something like that? That's definitely one of them. Heck, another one. Heck, this even goes back way back, like in sixth grade, where they did this whole trust game, because the school is located next to like a forest, and they had a big, huge rock. And the
Yeah.
teacher's like, oh, let's just see how much the kids trust us. So we all had to just get to the top of the rock, and then we basically just had to fall back.
Oh no.
Yeah, it took a while, but I gave in. I was like, all right, I trust you guys. Y'all won't drop me. And they didn't, so yeah, that was
Whew,
another.
whew. Glad they didn't drop you, right?
Yeah, yeah, because my jokes probably wouldn't be as funny. I would have had a
Uh,
bad head.
oh boy.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Well, the beautiful thing is that you weave wonderful stories. So, besides living a fabulous life after finding your confidence after the teen years, what do you think has really helped you to become a great storyteller?
Oh, what a great question. You know, hmm, I think it just, how did I be? Well, I have taken training, a little bit of training in it. So one of the things that I do you know Lisa Nichols?
Oh yeah, wonderful lady.
Isn't she? I know. So that's one of the things that I've done is, watched her videos and, just try to emulate like what she does. And like you can never be the same, but it's just about learning her style and just learning to put more details in my story. So it's just, realizing that stories is what sells. People love hearing a good story. When you think about our ancestors and you think about where they came from and, you know, sitting by the fire and telling stories with people, right? And so to me, I think what has really happened is that I've learned over the years that people want to hear my stories. And I think what also makes me a good storyteller is also being a good or a good listener, right? When you start listening to what other people are saying instead of interrupting them, then that helps you to become a better storyteller also. So for me, I do a lot of, listening to other speakers, other motivational speakers. I love listening to Will Smith. He's love his, like he's got, actually he's got that skydiving video. And I just love that video because it was like, it is so true, how he says it. But, I was so inspired by that video because I saw that video before me and my kid skydive. So it was really quite cool because it just really inspired us for me at least, to just go do it. So, and the other thing that I do is I have a story journal. So I wonder, no, I don't have it handy. So I have a story journal. And so I keep track of my stories.
Oh, wow.
And some of them are pictures, right? So the pictures just trigger different memories. And that's actually a speech map. So I planned out what my topic is and then the major topics I want to talk about and then the subtopic. So, yeah, and like the pictures, if I put this picture in a speech map, then I know what the story is that goes along with that, right? And then I just tell those stories. But yeah, I keep track of the stories because a lot of times what happens is we will remember a story, but then, we might not tell that story again for like a year or two later. So I always want to have a story journal with me so that I can keep track of those stories and then pull them out when I need them.
Yes, indeed. Hope folks are taking great notes today. And if you're listening to the audio-only version, you might want to check out the video version because you get the masterclass, baby, from an expert, a shot of star on this magical earth, baby. That's right, indeed. Got her own story journal. That's the Kelly Bible right there. That's right, the Kelly Bible of stories. That's right. That's right, indeed. And the mind mapping, since you mentioned called it a speech map, does that help you to organize your speech better? Because I've tried it before myself and it's great for creativity, but I've tried it once before and it tends to make the ideas too big. So what helps you to really stay organized with that speech map that you do?
Well, one of the things I do is that because I find I don't write my speech out word for word. I just trust that my heart and my higher power is going to tell me what to say. So I plan my openings and I plan my closings, but I always just let my heart speak for itself. So, because you just never know what that audience is going to want to hear. And so I don't like being totally rigid, because some people, they think they have to write out their whole speech or write out their whole story. And the problem is that most times you're not going to say it word for word. So why put so much pressure on yourself to think that you have to say it word for word? And then what happens is if you don't say it word for word, then people beat themselves up and they think, oh, I didn't do a very good job because I didn't do it word for word. But to me, that's just your heart or your soul taking over and saying, no, this is what I believe the audience needs to hear. So that's one of the things I love to do. Now, sometimes some people need a little bit more structure, and that's fine. If you're one of those people that needs structure, that's okay. You could do a PowerPoint if you want. I don't typically like to do a PowerPoint because I don't like structure. I like just to be able to go out there and speak from my heart. But when I'm talking about how to publish a book, there's a 7-step process. So I do have a PowerPoint to go with it, but the PowerPoint is just pictures. There's not a lot of words on it. I just need something to trigger what I want to talk about, but I don't have it written word for word at all.
There you go. There you go right there. Definitely. And I agree with you wholeheartedly because I like to do the same thing. Speaking straight from the heart, really just give them some great stories and don't write out speeches. Funny enough, a buddy on LinkedIn that I connected with earlier this year, she was like, hey, am writing a speech for me? And I'm like, you're great, but I don't write speeches for others because I haven't wrote a speech for myself since 2014. Like, I don't, I can't write this. I mean, I probably could try, but it probably won't work because I just don't do it that
No,
way. I just converse with people here.
exactly. Yeah. And the other thing is it wouldn't sound like it's coming from her, right? Because you have your own style, you have your own personality. So that wouldn't be authentic to the other person, right? You got
Hmm.
to just be authentic. And that's the thing is people are looking for authenticity nowadays. That's what they want to see. They want to see people be authentic and real. And yeah. So I agree with you. I wouldn't be able to write somebody else's speech either.
Ah, yes, indeed. I find it funny, like, of all the conversation, all the times I heard the word authentic and authenticity. Like, do you remember those commercials from, like, way back when, like, that scene on TV, when they used to come with the certificate of genuine authenticity?
Oh yeah.
I feel.
That's right.
I feel like that's what people are looking for. It's like, all right, so do you have this on you? All right, you have it? Okay, you're good. All right.
You're good. All right. You're authentic. You're real. Maybe maybe that's what I gotta do. I gotta come up with my own certificate of authenticity.
Ah, there you go. A Kelly product. A nice little art project for you, probably. The one of many to come, I imagine.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness. Well, speaking of powerful stories and creativity and art, I believe that you're also, if I'm not mistaken, you had some prototype quotes that you're also not only able to hand out to kids, but if I'm not mistaken, you're able to meet one of your role models before he sadly passed away a few years ago, Wayne Dyer, right?
I did. I did. In fact, I gave Wayne one of the very first 5 blankets that I had made. So I had some prototypes made. And what happened was I said to myself, I want to meet Wayne Dyer. And so what happened is on Facebook popped up a conference that Wayne Dyer was speaking at in Maui, and it was called Writing for the Soul. And Hay House was putting on this event, and they were going to teach us how to write a book proposal. So I go to this event, and it was funny because, well, let me back up a little bit. I didn't have the money to go. And so I said to the universe, show me the money, right? Because I needed to fly to Maui, right? And so all of a sudden I got a check in the mail 2 weeks later, and it was for $1,500. And it was enough to cover for the flight, the hotel, the conference fees, and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, I guess I'm going to Maui. So I booked the trip and everything, and I went there, and I got to meet Wayne Dyer, and I got to talk to him, and he is like an amazing soul. He he was telling us how he had just enough money to survive, and the rest of his money he gives to charity. And sure enough, not even, I think it was 3 months later, he passed away. And so I was so happy that I listened to that little whisper of my heart that said, go to Maui, right? So it was pretty cool.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. There's like so many powerful lessons in that one story. Of course, the first one is to listen to your intuition and the fact that there's abundance on this earth. And if you ask for what you want and really keep your eyes and ears open, it'll definitely find you.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Like I said, I want to meet Wayne Dyer. And, that conference came up on Facebook, and it would have been really easy for me to say, well, no, I can't go because I didn't have the money at the time. But then when I asked my higher power, show me the money, and then I got that check in the mail for $1,500, it was like, it would have been very easy for me to not to go. But I was like, no, this is what I asked for. So I'm going. And so I was so happy that I actually listened to my intuition and said, okay, I'm going to go. Because, I didn't know Wayne Dyer was going to pass away 3 months later. And 2 of my friends were going to come with me, and they decided not to. And they're upset because Wayne Dyer passed away and they'll never get to meet him in person. So when you hear that little whisper of your heart that's telling you, go do this, you got to listen.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Heck, that heck, even another lesson that even popped in my head from the story is the fact that initiative is the gateway to leadership. Because if you didn't take action, immediate action on that intuition, that voice, then you would have never had that opportunity, and it would have been lost forever.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. You're absolutely right about that. So when has that ever happened to you? Hey Dom, have you ever had that happen to you where you heard that little whisper in your head that said, hey, I gotta do this?
Oh yeah, definitely. My goodness, it probably nothing of that high level, but definitely. Well, actually, I'd have to say probably. I guess a little. I wouldn't say common sense mixed with it, but definitely some initiative definitely had to happen. It was actually a few years ago. It was actually a few years ago. My father, he was having his last few days on the earth. It was his dying days, and
Yep.
the week before he passed away, we had to decide whether or not to insert a feeding tube in him because he wasn't eating his food. And we decided not to because since he had dementia, he would probably play with the darn thing and try to take it out of him. And good thing we didn't because we didn't know he would pass away later. And the day after, we decided not to have the feeding tube put in. I went to a Toastmasters meeting, and we did for the table topic session questions based off of John Maxwell's leadership game. And
Yep.
one of the questions was to think of three people who are responsible for your success today. And my father easily is one of them because I wouldn't be here without him. So after that, after telling the whole room, hey, got to thank my dad for it. And my buddy who was hosting these questions, giving them out to folks, he said, hey, next, here's an extra tip for you. Here's some extra homework for you to thank them. And I'm like, wow, I think I'm running out of time here. So I went and made sure I went to the next day to the nursing home to see him and thank them for all he did for me. And good,
Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah. Because sometimes,
That's
yeah,
mhm.
it like sometimes activities like that and books and things like that, you may on the surface like, ah, I'll do it later. But good thing I didn't wait too far later to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, totally. What a beautiful moment though that would have been for you. That's amazing. I love that. Yeah. No, exactly. We don't want to live with regrets. That's one thing that one of my grandmas always said to me is never have any regret. So always do that thing so that, you don't have any regret.
That's right. Definitely do that thing with no regrets indeed. Yes, ma'am, indeed. Because they can be painful. They can be painful. It's like, ah, crap, I should have did this thing. Ah, crap, I missed the opportunity. Ah, darn, missed another opportunity. Ah, darn, like, get these needles out of me, stop it. Like, ah, these needles of regrets. No. But hey,
No regret. We want take take that opportunity and go with it.
ah,
Right?
yes, indeed.
Well,
Especially when it,
my son Parker, remember we are talking about the skydiving, right? And he said, he didn't want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. So after I said to him, I said, so why did you jump? Why did you? Right? And he goes, well, mom, he says, I didn't want to have any regret. He says, I thought that if I didn't jump, I would have regretted it. And I said, wow, that's awesome. That's cool. I'm so glad that you jumped because we got to jump together as a family. And, that was so cool because I was also a single mom. And so I have this I used to believe that all single moms are broke. And so I thought when I was going through my divorce 10 years ago, I thought becoming a single mom is going to be a very hard life. And it could mean that I'm not going to be able to afford a lot of things for my kids. And so I was so proud that I was able to find a way that me and my kids could skydive. And it was something that I did as a single mom. And I just thought, this is so cool that I'm able to provide this for my kids. So, yes.
oh, yeah, that's right. It's actually kind of interesting how, like, we always have those, like, beliefs inserted into us. It's like, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like, oh, single moms are broken, things like that. But it's like, you know what? Forget those. Like, those are probably just tags or whatever. Like, forget those tags. It's like, break through those ceilings and really still create the life you want, ignoring what other people think.
Yeah, that's right. And to me, not all single moms have to be broke, right? If you want something in your life, then you have to go and get it. I made up a quote 10 years ago, and the quote is, dreams are meant to be found, not tucked away in dreamland. So how many people have not followed their dreams because they think they can't do it? And in today's age, with the internet, we can do almost anything if we just set our minds to it. And that's the thing. We can all do things. You just have to take action.
That's right. Definitely got to take action indeed. So, and speaking of action, you've been taking all sorts of wonderful action and you've been on multiple stages, especially these wonderful, more comfortable stages, one to countless. That's what I'm going to call it, because even though it's a one-on-one conversation, podcast can reach countless people because they're basically permanent audio content. Is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're on the guest side of the game?
Oh, a question I wish to be asked more often. I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know. I think the single mom thing is a big thing for me because, it's only been in this last year that when COVID hit, where, a lot of people are really struggling with COVID, I actually had one of my best years ever. And so I think one of the questions that I would love to be asked more often is, what else can we do? Like, have you ever read the book Who Moved My Cheese?
Oh, classic book, yes.
Yes, right? So, basically what that book means is, that there was two little people and these two mice. And what happened, they're in a maze, and every day they would go to this one spot and they would get their cheese. But one day it was gone. And your cheese represents, your life. It represents maybe the holiday or the car or the house or the fantastic job or whatever it is. It represents what you really want. But then when it got taken away, the two mice decided, well, let's just go find some more, right? Whereas the two little people decided that they were just going to stay back and wait for more cheese to come instead of taking action to move forward. But the one little person did eventually decide, okay, maybe I should start changing my life. So he did. And then he went back to go see the other little person. Hey, you want to come with me? Things are good over here. And he's like, nope, I'm staying here. And so to me, that kind of represents what's going on with us in COVID right now, where some people are just staying really stuck and rigid and saying, well, my life is over now, I can't do my job, instead of trying to pivot and do something else. And so that was the thing that happened with me, is that when COVID hit, I lost all my speaking gigs, but then I pivoted into coaching people to become authors. And then I started getting more speaking gigs towards that. And so now it's just been awesome because I'm able to make an even bigger impact with people. And I've made more money in 2020 than I did in other previous years as being a keynote speaker. So I'm saying this because I'm really glad that I pivoted, but it's also a message that we can't just stay stuck. We have to also ask ourselves, what else can I do? How else can I move forward in life?
Yes, indeed. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. Yes,
Thank you.
indeed. Yes, indeed. And I feel that's a powerful statement to make and powerful testimony, the fact that even though COVID was kind of like Grim Reaper when it comes to a lot of small
Yeah, exactly,
businesses,
right?
is that you're actually one of the folks able to pivot and have the best year of your life in terms of business and probably more, maybe.
Right. Yeah, no, and I'm expecting that 2021 will be an even better year than 2020. So, how about you? How was 2020 for you?
Like, to be honest, I can give the same testimony just about, because at first when it hit, I was definitely like thrown off. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be off from work 'cause I still have a day job at the moment, and I was like, oh, I guess off 2 weeks, time to make the online business soar, and then I'll just go back to work. And then the coffee shop's closed, and I'm like, oh crap, no. I should have stayed in there longer before they closed now. So I was stuck at home, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'll go get back in the game, and got back into gaming for a bit. Then I started teleworking, and then was able to book a lot more guests for the podcast. And I eventually did some speaking on a couple virtual summits, and heck, even finished the story that I had to contribute for book number 2.5, Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy. And I was able to at least salvage that extra time I had of not having to drive to work and drive home, to be able to basically write more, create more content, and have the best year of my life for this podcast. Like, I had over 137 new guests on the podcast, which is the biggest year ever.
Wow,
Yeah, it was a lot.
that is incredible.
Yeah, it was a good year. It was a good year. It's like, yeah, it's a shame what happened to folks. I've known some folks who've caught COVID, and some who've lost relatives, sadly. But like, business wise, it was actually the best year. Podcast exploded, got more income in. So I'm like, oh shoot, I'll take it. Like, I'll take it. Looking forward to this year being a better one too.
That's incredible. 137 in 1 year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. That's like almost one every 2 days.
Yeah, it's getting to that point, because right now it feels like every other day it's like, okay, here's episode 347. It is 347.5, because it's like I don't want to do an extra day, but it's getting to the point now where it's like, well, I might have to start doing this whole 3 days a week thing, as opposed to doing 2 episodes one day out of the week, or sometimes 2 days out of the week.
Yeah. Well, you clearly love what you're doing. You can just see it, and you're smiling or you're laughing, and that's awesome. I love it.
Oh, that's good. That's
Hey, are
good.
you on Clubhouse now or TikTok? Have you joined either one of those two?
Clubhouse, yes. I'm happy to miss the TikTok train. I'm good. I'm good. Especially since there was stories about, apparently, like, folks in the Chinese government were using that to track certain areas of where to possibly use that in war for later. I'm like, you know what? Whether that's true or not, that could make somewhat sense. And plus, I'm not much of a on-camera dancer anyway. Folks like to
Right?
trick off. I just two-step. So I'm like, but Clubhouse, I jumped on that. Some good folks on there. Secured probably a couple guests on there. I'm in and out there a bit, but it's just hard to like set aside time for that. And it's getting to
Right.
the point now where it's like you just got to find the right room to be in.
Or you got to start your own.
That too, and make sure people actually show up too.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually what I did before my event that I had a couple weeks ago. Is I went on Clubhouse and I did a room called "Are You an Aspiring Author? Ask Your Questions Here." And so we had something, I think, like about 30 people in the room, and I actually sold some tickets to my event that way and everything. It worked out really well. It was cool. Yeah,
Ah,
well, podcasting fits right in with Clubhouse.
oh yeah, it does. It does, definitely. It's like it's just freaking audio. Folks are having a conversation, and just have to watch out for the folks who try to show off a little too much.
Well, you just got to be the moderator, and then you just like cut them off. Yeah, you're done. Mute.
Exactly. You are not talking about the Cheetah Girls here. This is the author's room.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but this time in the current year of 2021 with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
What would I give myself? Oh, that's a good question. I love it. Um, the advice I would give myself is to believe myself, believe in me, and I would never stay stuck in the one position I was in. So that would be the one thing that I would tell myself is that you can do it, right? Like I think a lot of times we just stay stuck doing the same thing over and over, and we expect a different result. And I honestly, I probably would have ended my marriage sooner too. I probably would have. I stayed stuck in that marriage because I thought that no other man was going to want me. And I think that was a big thing is I would have ended my marriage a lot sooner. So yeah. So I just believe, I would just tell myself to believe myself more. Believe in myself, take more risks. Don't be so scared. Just go for it.
There we
What would you
go.
tell yourself? What would you tell your 25-year-old self?
That's right. Play Connect 4 and go for it. That's right. That's not. Let me stop. I won't say that to myself. Yeah, it's been the same. It probably always will be the same is to stay in the gym. Just keep working out. Even if you get injuries, like work through the pain a bit.
Yeah, just do it, right?
Like stay in the gym. Keep your workout regimen. Don't stop at all because you'll regret it. Muscle disappears faster than fat does.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Oh my goodness. Yes, indeed. Well, for those who want to keep in magical contact with the kind Kelly herself, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you?
Well, I have a free gift for your listeners. So it's my blueprint. So I teach people how to write a book and get it published in 7 easy steps. So you can go to 7stepsauthor.com, and that's where you can download the blueprint. Plus, they can also book a 30-minute call with me. So if they want to have a discovery call to talk about their journey and becoming an author or best-selling author, I'd be happy to spend 30 minutes with them and talk to them about it. So 7stepsauthor.com is where they can go. Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. 7 Step Author, baby. That's right. Check it out in the show notes, indeed. Get that blueprint, and then it'll turn into a green print so you can print your own money eventually with your magical products, baby. Your book, and transform the world and help people like Kelly's doing right now, folks. And be sure to check out her books as well, full of inspiration, motivation, change your life. And won't even need quarters to do it as well. Definitely pick them up and check all the stuff that Kelly's doing and be on the lookout for more stuff that she's doing because she also hosts awesome events too to help you write your book. So one day you could be on this show too as one of the illustrious authors who decide to press the fear go away button and create your own piece of immortality. So any parting words before we close up shop, Kelly?
Well, I would just love to remind people again, dreams are meant to be found, not tucked away in dreamland. So you got something you want to do, just feel the fear and do it anyways and accomplish your dreams. That's what we're here for.
How's it going, you super special awesome human? Since you made it to the end of this episode, it looks like you really enjoyed yourself. Since you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share with at least 3 people in your network and tell them what you really liked about this episode. Heck, even shoot myself or the guest an email and let them know what you liked most about this interview so that way they can stay inspired to keep pushing out great work.